This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptocurrencies to choose from on their spot exchange, dozens of USDT pairs for futures trading, perpetual coin futures, trade commodities like gold, silver and oil, Forex, and major indices like Nasdaq. You can buy crypto from Bityard with over 50 different fiat currencies using Visa, MasterCard, Google or Apple Pay. If you like, you can use their copy trade facility, follow other traders who will execute trades on your behalf, or become a copy trader yourself. So if you want a bit of that, click the link in the description. Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to look at a really boring chart again, which is Bitcoin, and we're going to speculate as to what the hell's going on with it. So we all know that the old men at the table spoke about the 50 basis point, which is obviously something that we pretty much guaranteed. They didn't need to tell us that, right? We knew that. We knew it was going to be the case. It's not set in stone. We're obviously going to wait for a CPI report for them to project what's going to happen next. They do want to help markets because they know that by crushing markets, it crushes economies, which crushes jobs, which adds to inflation. It adds a lot of problems. That basically becomes a recession. GDP was actually slightly up, which is, I mean, that in itself isn't going to save anyone from the term recession, but if it continues to go up, then fair enough. They're in a very difficult situation about needing to try and keep an economy looking good and effectively being okay, you know, being prosperous and protecting jobs while dealing with inflation, which obviously is a massive problem. So outside of that, and outside the 50 basis point stuff, which is why there's such little confidence in the market, I made a video the other day which was received just as I expected it to be, which is some love it, some hate it. One comment actually left of that video was some guy goes, "I didn't even watch the video, but I will leave a 3-paragraph comment about my distaste for what it is that you may or may not have said throughout that video that I didn't see," which is pretty impressive stuff. You've got to love social media. So just to whiz through that concept is that all indicators are made with 3 components, right? It's price, volume, and time. Now, other indicators like oscillators, momentum oscillators below, are made with price or volume, or volume and time. All kinds of other aspects and components go into other ones, but for the most part, well, for all parts, all indicators are created through the combination of price, volume, and time. So what I thought I'd do the other day was take away the price, and we'll think about simply just the volume and time. And this is why I came up with that video saying I think the bear market might be over. Look, everybody's fighting for clicks on YouTube. You gotta play the game. The O face is not my favourite, but you know, if my channel is to survive the test of time, you might see me, you know, doing some stupid stuff like that soon. But for the moment, clickbait seems to be working to an extent, but it's based upon what I'm saying, right? So just to whiz through what I was saying, bull market top and a top here and a top here. So this was the absolute peak. This was a very significant rally from the bear market end all the way up to there, and this was a volume peak. Yeah, if you were to look at this, which is Bitcoin when it peaked around 40,000 or so, around here, 42,000. If you were to look at this chart here, you would say get out, and most of us did, and we went into altcoins because again we got a very, very tasty read on altcoins at the time, and we crushed the bloody market. We went absolutely crazy, you know, absolutely crazy, you know. From a trader's point of view, that alternating from a Bitcoin position into an altcoin position there, I mean there was a few really epic trades, but I was basically able to, you know, at least 20x the amount of Bitcoins that I put in for the most part. So it was amazing. But if we look at Bitcoin specifically, which is the overall director of health, you know, we can see that volume has been leaving this ever since. We had this, which is obviously bearish divergence, and we did get a higher high, obviously, when it comes to price action. But we're not focusing on price action. We're thinking about just momentum of volume here, and the volume has been leaving since that peak. And again, this peak matches the previous peaks over here, which is a get out of Bitcoin situation. Now, with this, we can see that there is divergence that was brewing as we approach significant lows here. So the first low, August 18, then a higher low, 26th of November, and then another higher low is around 28th of January, which more or less, if we just zoom right into it here, more or less spots one of the more significant lows, right? So decent divergence forming on the momentum oscillator being your money flow index. And since then, it's been in a bull market, and effectively that would have marked an amazing entry point for anybody, even at this stage now. So what we see here is, again, a bubble pop kind of vibe and a declining volume each time. And now what we see is divergence brewing as well. So again, that was the whole video I made was about that. It was part of my Patreon live stream, but I felt like I ought to record it because it was something different, I suppose. And as much as I care for my patrons, I felt like I might as well put this one out there to the absolute disgust of the general crypto YouTube community. But it is what it is. So I'm not suggesting that we have hit the low. I'm suggesting that we are, if not already hit the low, we are extremely close to it. And historically, you know, the lows for Bitcoin do seem to gather around the 200 simple moving average on the weekly here. The 200 exponential also being a possibility as well. So that would bring us down by quite a significant drop by now. If we were to drop right this second, that would be a further... Oh, it's not showing me here. That's annoying. But it's about it's just short of another 20% move. Fair enough. And you know what? Guess what? I'll be buying the hell out of that area. And you know what? For Bitcoin, I've been telling Matt Damon about this. You know, if you buy the top, you will be forgiven in the end. My brother-in-law bought close to the top. He bought about 12,000 on the way down, and it took him a while. To get into profit. But I was telling him, said, "Look, I know, yeah, you bought at a wrong time. I wouldn't have done that, to be honest with you. But it'll be okay. Don't worry, it'll be okay." And then finally, it was, and then it wasn't, and then it was, and now it is. And it should remain being okay for him. And I'm trying to tell this to Matt Damon, and obviously this is a philosophy I hold very true myself, which is that, yeah, of course, you know, if Bitcoin goes down, you do want to be buying it if you see the projection to where it's going, which is an up-only chart. Of course, it's difficult to buy blood. Very hard. Most people can't do it, which is why the fear in greed index is so low. And if you mention the word Bitcoin, most people vomit all over themselves. You know, they're throwing up everywhere. You know, they start convulsing. They can't handle it. It's the same vibe. I remember very much the same vibe as when I bought down here. It's exactly the same vibe. I buy here, and people were telling me, "You're an absolute idiot." I made this YouTube channel for I'll document my little crypto journey. Let's do it. And so I started making videos. People going, "You're an idiot, man. You're an idiot. It's going to 1,000 because that's where it was when it was at its previous peak." Blah. But again, even if it did go down to 1,000, its projection from 3,000 or 4,000 is still pretty good, right? Still pretty good. As is its projection from 29,000 and certainly from 22. Now, there's a lot of people out there calling for 8, and I can't say that they're wrong. But at the moment, the chart doesn't particularly point to 8. It points to 22 at its lowest, or at least for a very significant rally. You know, an enormous rally, maybe back up into the 40s. We're talking about a 100% rally type vibe from that particular level. But we can't move away from the fact that we're heavily correlated with major indexes, and the Nasdaq being the main one. And look, you know, the Nasdaq is currently getting 3 or 4 drives of bullish divergence now as we approach these significant lows. It's not massive, it's not amazing. It's just a little piece of price action that we can transfer over to Bitcoin, which Bitcoin on the daily is actually looking okay for a move up. Momentum is still building. Momentum on the money flow index is building. RSI and MACD. In fact, the histogram until just today, which again today hasn't yet closed, is having more and more positive ticks on the histogram. So there is divergence building, some momentum building for a potential move to the up. But it's not done it yet. And yet again, we swept the lows of this area, being rejected on the 10 exponential once again. Bang, 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 every single time. The general idea that I'm getting here, though, is as soon as this 10 exponential is cleared and closed above, then yeah, we'll probably launch up to this downwards resistance level, which currently is roughly around the lower 30s. So not an enormous move, I have to say. But if that breaks, then I'll be looking for areas like 40 basically to be tagged next. But at the moment, we're still sweeping these lows, the summer lows, the significant summer lows, which again, yeah, we've been down in, or even that long ago. We're down like a year ago. And I remember when we were down here, people were calling for, lo and behold, 20,000, 12,000, 8,000, 4,000, 0. You know, and look, It didn't happen, did it? So, at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not your financial advisor. It's a difficult market. It's a very hard to trade market in this moment in time. It's a very difficult market to trade. But what I am saying is risk to reward. Be brave like Matt Damon. Think about the long term. Don't think about the immediate short term. There's always going to be someone calling for lower, and it's always going to stop you from pulling the trigger. There's always going to be people calling for higher, which is always going to stop you from selling. The idea is you take slices of price action from a decent entry point to out at a decent entry point. I wanted this to go higher, and you know what? It could have if it wasn't for all the other things that we talk about, economic factors. The main thing that made me get out was Omicron. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube these days, but that's what made me get out, because I felt like, we are probably going to see some form of black swan event, and it became very difficult to form an uptrend after that. Even though I did manage to get back in at lower levels, 40,000, 35, 31, 27. The idea is, I did manage to get out at a much higher area than where we are right now, but I didn't want to. And it wasn't particularly based on the chart. I thought that we could have gone higher, but like I say, Fed, stroke, Omicron, and then war, and then everything else that follows has basically made the chart go down further and further and further. Similar to why I suppose we broke down around here. There was a bubble pop, but it was difficult to get yourself out of it because you had all these other things going on at the same time. And again, it's black swan after black swan. So here's your first black swan, Omicron, and then here's your second black swan, which is Luna and UST. So look, it's difficult to trade a chart like this when it's being kicked down the stairs. It's okay for charts to walk down the stairs and consolidate, but this one's being kicked down the stairs, as are traditional markets. But crypto got an extra knee in the face recently, which could have caused a capitulation, but it's also caused a lot of fear in the market. Like I say, people vomiting all over their own clothes, just throwing up everywhere when you mention the word Bitcoin and altcoins as well. So it is what it is. Like I say, fortune favours the brave, doesn't it, Matt? He's here with me now. He's in the corner now. He's been there for a while, crying, but I keep reminding him of his own philosophies that fortune does favour the brave, but ideally it favours the brave. It's braver to buy realistically on the way down like this than buying on the way up. It's easy to buy on the way up because you wake up richer every day until the day that you don't. The idea is here that you wake up effectively poorer every day until the day that you don't, and then your gains are much greater because you effectively bought lower. Anyway, I will leave it with you there, guys. I hope you have a nice day. Good luck trying to trade this boring market. It's boring as hell. Listen to what the old men say, but also follow your own strategy. If you want to try and catch the absolute low, that's fine. Like I say, I did that in the last bear market, and I didn't catch the absolute low. I was about 20-25% away from the low after the low was hit. If you want to do that, that's a very good strategy, sort of waiting it out on the sidelines. I wouldn't blame you, wouldn't fault you for that. But me personally, I'll continue with this dollar cost averaging into significant areas of support. And that will be my strategy. And then rotate into altcoins when the time is right. Which again, if we just quickly look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, the time is not yet right, although we are approaching it soon. And maybe the next big dump for Bitcoin will take us into this area. And so for me, maybe that would be a time to rotate into some altcoins. But for the moment, it's not. So let's leave it for what it is and focus on Bitcoin and only Bitcoin. And time is on our side. We will work this one out. Don't worry. Been here before. And it won't be the last time I'll be here, I can tell you that. That's just why I can be so casual, sitting around at 10 o'clock in the morning without any general responsibility outside of my own life and my children's well-being. Anyway, I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.